Hey everyone, and welcome. So a new SteamVR update just dropped, version 2.13. Now, while it might not be packed with a ton of flashy new features, this is a really important one. You should think of it as a full tune-up for your VR experience, all about making things more stable and just better. All right, let's dive right in and break down what this actually means for you.
So, here's the game plan for today. We'll start with what's new in 2.13 and look at the upgrades that affect pretty much every user. Then, we'll get into the really good stuff for Steam Link, touch on some key updates for developers in OpenXR, and finally, I'll show you exactly how you can get in on the action.
So what's the big picture with 2.13? Well, it's all about refinement. You can tell Valve has been hard at work listening to feedback and just squashing bugs to make the entire Steam VR platform more stable and honestly just a whole lot better to use day to day. Right. The main takeaway here is that this isn't some massive overhaul. Instead, what we've got is a whole bunch of really smart, targeted fixes and optimizations. And when you add them all together, they create a noticeably smoother experience. You know, these are the kinds of updates that iron out all those little annoyances you might not have even realized were bothering you. Okay, next up, let's talk about the changes you're actually going to feel the next time you jump into VR. These are the general improvements that really polish the core experience for every single one of us. So this update brings a ton of small but really meaningful fixes that just add up. For starters, the user interface now looks and feels a lot more consistent with the main Steam client, which is nice. And you know that IPD pop-up, that little thing that tells you your interpupillary distance? Well, you can finally disable it. They've also cut down on memory usage, which just means a snappier interface. Plus, they fixed some really annoying bugs, like where the recenter button would just disappear, or your controller inputs would break if you moved a game's install folder. Just solid upgrades all around. And check this out. This is a perfect example of SteamVR just getting smarter. For any of you using Windows Mixed Reality on newer versions of Windows, there was this massive headache with an old driver. Well, now, SteamVR automatically spots that problem and just fixes it. It prioritizes the right driver for you. No more manual workarounds, it just works. That is a huge win for WMR owners. All right, let's talk about what might be one of the biggest improvements in this entire patch, especially for all of you wireless streamers out there. The updates to Steam Link are, well, they're fantastic. I'm going to read this directly from Valve's notes, because it's a pretty big promise. They say the update, quote, improves jumps, hitches, and other smoothing or latency issues for controllers and other animated content. And wow, that is a really direct and exciting promise for anyone who relies on Steam Link. So what does all that technical jargon actually feel like when you're in the game? It means your controller movements should feel more direct, more one-to-one. It means less of that annoying stutter when things get crazy on screen. Basically, they've implemented a new frame pacing system that just makes the whole experience feel way more stable and responsive, which is absolutely critical for wireless VR. They also squashed a pesky bug that was causing your CPU to work way too hard, even when the performance graph was turned off. That's a great little optimization. And, this is important, Valve is specifically asking for your feedback on this new frame pacing. So if you use Steam Link, seriously, jump in and let them know how it feels. Okay, let's peek behind the curtain for a minute and get into the more technical side of things. Now, even if you don't feel these changes directly, they're super important for developers and for the future of the entire VR ecosystem. So before we get into the fixes, a super quick refresher. What is OpenXR? Just think of it like a universal language for VR. It lets developers build a game once and have it run on a ton of different headsets. By making OpenXR better, Valve is really future-proofing its platform, making sure SteamVR stays that central hub for PC VR, no matter what headset you're using. And here is a perfect example of making life easier. Before this update, getting SteamVR set up as the main OpenXR system could mean you had to go and manually edit the Windows registry, which is not fun. Now, it's so simple. You just set it as active inside SteamVR, and boom, it handles all that registry stuff for you. No more manual edits, it's clean, simple, and way less likely to cause problems. The update also adds support for a couple new OpenXR extensions, which basically gives developers more tools to build cooler apps. They also fixed a really specific 100 millisecond stutter some apps were having, and for the Linux VR community out there, they fixed some key crashes, making the whole thing much more stable. It's awesome to see that kind of broad support. So, after hearing about all these cool fixes, you might be thinking, how can I try them out right now? Well, the great news is you can. Valve actually encourages everyone to jump into the SteamVR beta program. And it is incredibly easy to do. Just pop open your Steam library,
find SteamVR and right-click on it. Go to Properties, and from there, you'll see a Betas tab. Just click that, and in the drop-down menu, select Beta. Steam will handle the rest, and you'll be on the latest version, ready to give your feedback. Oh, and a special note for all you MetaQuest users, you can also join the beta for the Steam Link app itself. You can do this right from inside your headset. Just go to your library, find the Steam Link app, dive into its settings, and you'll see the option to join the beta channel right there. So there you have it, a really solid maintenance release that refines, stabilizes, and improves the whole SteamVR experience, especially for Steam Link users. This kind of foundational work is exactly what paves the way for bigger, more exciting features down the road. Which, leaves us with one final thought. With this stronger foundation now in place, what's the next big feature you're hoping to see come to SteamVR? Thanks so much for tuning in.